Hey guys, this is Senora Redia here, and today we're going to talk about stem changing verbs. So I know that you've been watching videos and looking at stem changing verbs for a week or so, but I wanted to go ahead and explain them to you myself and kind of show you how I process it, and hopefully that will help you kind of understand them and figure them out, okay? So stem changing verbs are verbs that change in what sounds like their stem, okay? I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to explain some things to you. So let me go ahead and click that. Okay, so you should be seeing my screen at this point. Well, yeah. And so, okay, stem changing verbs. So verbs are, stem changing verbs are verbs that change in the stem. For example, if I have the verb comer, okay, down here I can type the verb comer. I don't know, it's insert text box here. Okay, comer. Okay. Comer is an ER verb, right? I'll make it a little bigger so you can see it. Now, the rule is to drop the ending, okay? If I drop this ending, what I'm left with is com. That is the stem of that word. So whatever verb you're working with, drop the ending, and that is, whatever's left over is the stem, okay? So we're gonna work with the stem and how to change it, because some certain specific verbs you have to stem in the present tense. And no, there's no rule for you to figure out when it's a stemming verb and when it's not a stemming verb. It just is. It's like ser and estar. You just have to know what they mean and how to work them, because there is no. Okay, I think we're back. Okay, yeah, sorry. My connection's awful, so it's on and off, and it just keeps interrupting me, and it's driving me loca. But okay, like I was saying, it's like ser and estar. Stem changing verbs are verbs that you just gotta know that they do what they're supposed to do, and there's no way of telling, okay? They're irregular. You can look up, you can Google it, find rules for stem changing. There's rule of thumbs and things that can kind of give you ideas, but there is no real rule onto when you look at a verb and know how to know that it's a stem changer or not. You just gotta memorize the list of verbs. Anyway, so I'm still trying to figure out or tell you how to figure out what the stem is of each word. So let's use the verb hablar. Okay, hablar is an AR verb. How do I know what the stem of the verb is? I just drop the AR and that's the stem. Whatever's left is called the stem, okay? Now I'm gonna give you a stem changer. And this stem changer is gonna be the verb, let's work with, I'm gonna do this here a second. Let's work with the verb pensar, okay? Move this over here, backwards. I'm trying to figure this thing out. Anyways. Oh my God. Move this out. Okay, so I'm gonna use the verb pensar. It means to think, okay? It means to think. So I'm going to write the stem of each verb, and I'm going to conjugate this like any other AR verb that I've already done before. So, pensar, I'm just going to write the stem, okay, for all of these. Yeah. And so if I were to conjugate this like any other normal AR verb, for yo, I put an O. For tú, I put an AS. For he, I just put an A. For we, I put amos. For vosotros, I put ice with an accent on the A. And for they, I put AN. Okay? Now the problem is that the endings are correct. Perfecto. Except that the stem isn't. Okay? So pensar is it going to be an E to IE stem changing verb. Okay? What does that mean? It means that I'm going to take the E in the stem and change it to IE, okay, instead of just leaving an E in there. So stem changers is what it calls, like there's a change in its stem. So in this case, the stem is this E right here, and I'm not going to leave the E, I'm going to put IE. So it's not yo pienso to say I think, it's yo pienso, okay, right here, tú piensas. Sorry, erase that. Él piensa. Ellos piensan. So pie, right? Pie, not just pe, but pie. They're IE instead of just an E like it does up here, like the original verb. The only thing is that we like to call these boot verbs because when you circle everything that's supposed to be stemmed, except nosotros and vosotros that's not supposed to stem, you're left with like a boot type looking grid, okay? So nosotros and vosotros does not stem. You keep the E as it is. Do not change it to IE. Keep it E. Everything else changes E to IE, okay? So the reason why I call it is a boot verb sometimes is that if you were to circle all the pronouns that do stem, you're left with a boot looking thing, okay? Which is kind of funny. But anyways, pensar, to think. Let's do another one. Let's do almorzar. This is not an E verb, it's an O stem. Almorzar is to eat lunch. It is a O to UE stem changer. Okay, there it is, almorzar. So I need to erase, I need to erase this because this is the other verb. Pensar was to think, non to eat lunch. Okay, here we go. All right, so almorzar. I'm going to type each letter A, L, M. Okay, here I'm left with an O, and I'm supposed to change O to UE. So instead of typing O, I'm going to type UE, right? And then I'm going to go back R, Z, and I'm dropping the AR, and what am I adding for yo? An O. Almuerzo. I eat lunch, not almuerzo, like the original verb, almuerzo. You eat lunch, almuerzas. He eats lunch, almuerza. Now we eat lunch. Nosotros and vosotros does not stem. So go ahead and do what you've always done. ALMORZ and drop the AR. I'm going to add almos. Almorzamos. You actually use an O in that one. Okay? Not a UE like you did with the other ones. See? UE. That, and you're going to keep doing that with vosotros just as you always done it. Almorzáis. And back to stemming. A, L, M, and not O, but instead UE, R, Z, and then the ending for they would be N. Almuerza. Okay? They have lunch, or you all have lunch instead. It's almuerzan. So the point of the stem changer is to change the stem of the word, okay? You have a few groups of stem changers here. Not all verbs stem. There's just a list of words that are on the stemming list, okay, that are stem changers. But the groups, the main groups is E. Let me see if I can type. Let me go to text box. So you got, let me make this font a little bigger. E to I, okay, E to IE, and O to UE. There are other stems, but they are not very common. You don't use them a lot. These are the three main ones that you have to know. Change E to I, change E to IE, and change O to UE. Okay, a key into helping you know when it's an E to I or E to IE is pretty much the ending of a verb. So normally, not always, again, these are not set in stone rules. These are just kind of helpful hints, but they're not solid. Verbs that end in IR, like servir, okay? If they're an IR verb, they will never be to IE, okay? They are gonna be an E to I. It does not mean that ER verbs like, I don't know, empezar, to begin. That's an AR, never mind. Any other stem changer? stem change, E to IE. Never mind, sorry. Okay, so it does not mean that these can't do an E to I. It just means that IR cannot do any of these other ones. Okay, IR, if it's an IR verb, it will be E to I. That's the only like almost solid rule I can tell you. But anyway, servir is a stem changer. It's on the stem changing list. And if I want to use servir for our example, it means to serve. And is an E to I stem changer. Okay, usually, not always, usually you'll have a hint next to the verb, like in the dictionary, that will tell you what the stem is. Sometimes you won't, you just gotta know that it's a stemmer. Okay, but let's go ahead and do servir. I'm gonna erase this. It would be easier if I had a whiteboard in person, but I can answer all your crazy questions and all my crazy explanations can be a little bit more clear. But, you know, it is what it is. Okay, trying our best here. So, servir, I'm going to type each letter as we always do, S, E, R, V, I, R, but I need to drop the IR, add O for yo, and I need to change this E instead to an I, sirvo. I serve, yo sirvo, okay? So not only do you have to worry about changing the ending correctly, right? Now you have to worry about the stem and make sure that you get that stem right, because if not, the answer will be incorrect. So I serve, yo sirvo, you serve. S instead of an E, I'm going to use an I, RV, and then the ending for tu would be, it's an IR verb, so ES, sirves. Okay, he serves, él sirve. We serve, now this one does not stem. Nosotros and vosotros do not stem. So nosotros servimos, vosotros servís, and back to stemming. Sirven, they serve. So the endings are just like you've always done for an IR verb, except that now instead of an E, you're using an I. Okay, E to I. Another E to I would be pedir. Pedir is to ask for, order. Okay. It's an E to I. Pedir. So I'm going to erase the answers for servir and try it again. There we go. All right, so pedir, I order or I ask. It's not going to be pedo, because funny thing, pedo actually means fart in Spanish. So let's not use pedo. You guys send the E to I. Pido. I order. Pido. Yo pido. Okay. Tú pi. Right, yes, for tú. He orders. Él pide. Now we order. Remember, they do not send, so keep the original E. Pedimos. Y'all in Spain, pedis, IR, so I and pedis, and they order back to stemming, pidi, for they, piden. Okay. I hope you're getting the hang of this. Jugar is an interesting one. Jugar is to play. Okay, and the stem for this one is actually U to UE, and this is a very rare stem. And the reason why we don't even teach it as a group of stem changers is because the only verb in the entire language of Spanish that stems U to UE is jugar. Okay, so no point of making a group. It's the only verb, but we're going to go ahead and do it so you can see it happen. Okay, so to say I play, you play, we play, they play. You got to do the same thing we've been doing. You got to conjugate like you've always done. Drop the ending, add the right ending, but make sure that you change that stem. Okay. So jugar, instead of saying I play, yo jugo. Jugo actually means juice. So that's not I play. That means juice. I need the stem U to UE. So J-U-E-G, and then drop the AR, and for yo would be an O. Juego. Yo juego, tú juegas, él juega, ellos juegan. But remember that nosotros and vosotros does not stem, so keep it as it was. Jugamos, no U, or sorry, no E. Jugamos and jugáis. Accidentally, A. Jugar. Anyways, let's do one last one. Dormir. Dormir is to sleep. Is a O to UE stem changer. Dormir. So I need to erase all of these. This is the last one that we're going to do as an example together. Okay. Okay. So, your turn. What are we going to do? Yo, D, because it's a D, and then next is an O, but I need to stem an O to UE instead. So I'm not going to type an O. I'm going to type a UE, and I'm going to keep going. R, M, and I drop the IR. What do I add for me? For yo, I add an O. Duermo. I sleep. Yo duermo. You sleep. Let's do it again. D, O is not going to be an O. Now it's going to be UE. Then next is an R, and then an M. I drop the IR. What do I add for tú? It's IR verb, so yes, duermes. Okay. El duerme. Nosotros, though, we actually get to not stem and keep the O. And it's an IR verb, so door, right, just like it is, M, and then drop the IR and add imos. Because it's an IR verb, dormimos. Vosotros dormís. Do not stem that one. Now back to stemming. Ellos duermen. Notice I used the UE instead of an O. Okay. Duermen. Anyway, I hope you guys understand or are starting to get a good grasp, or what's what I'm looking for? A good grip on these verbs. Stem changers is just what it sounds like. They are verbs that change in their stem. Okay. There are three groups: E to I, E to IE, O to U. There are more, but they have very few words that are not even worth making groups for them. Those are the three main stems: E to I, E to IE, O to U. Okay, and there's a list of verbs, and I will provide in person. I'll give you a copy of in paper of lists of stem changing verbs that you can have. And if you're virtual, I'll put a link on there for you to have that as well. But just remember, stem changers do not only conjugate. You got to remember how to conjugate in the present tense. But you also have to now make sure that if it's a stemming verb, that you stem. Okay. Well, anyways, that's all for today. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. And text me if you have any questions. Hasta luego. Adios. Ciao.